For a memorable shopping experience, you have to come to Bicester Village.
These look perfect. They are such a good length.
They have over 150 designer fashion and lifestyle boutiques, and I've never been anywhere quite like it.
This is going to be very tempting.
From personal shopping consultants to hands-free shopping, yes, they carry your bags for you, so chic. It's a 5-star service.
There are so many savings at Bicester Village. The reduction from the original price is just incredible.
And only an hour on the train from London. The next time I visit, I'm definitely trying out their personal shopping packages.
I feel so glamorous just slipping into these. I think I'll take them.
To enter a prize draw to win £500 worth of shopping at Bicester Village, follow the link in the description. T's and C's apply.
Thank you so much.
Well, talking of women, you bear the notable distinction of having played younger versions on screen of Kiera Knightly, Margot Robbie and Angelina Jolie.
I know, I don't know how that's happened.
Which is amazing because they look very different. And yet when I look at your face, I can totally see elements of all of them. And I know that Kiera Knightly is still something of a mentor to you, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely. Kiera's amazing. I'd also say Margot, we worked sort of 2 days and then they CGI'd my face with her face. It's a very weird...
Okay.
It's sort of like a Ella Margot hybrid. It looks like neither of us and both of us at the same time. It's really bizarre. And then with Angelina, we never met actually. We sort of very briefly crossed paths. And I'm in the film for about 2 seconds, but obviously huge compliment. Still going to run with it. Still going to take that compliment, guys. Thank you very much. But Kiera and I worked together very closely, and that was my first ever film I did, Never Let Me Go, and I was 12 years old. And she's just the most, the most gracious, kind, sweet, considerate human. And really, she started acting very young, really looked out for us. And we worked together quite closely. It was really interesting. So it was three youngers, and it was Kiera Knightly, Kerry Mulligan, and Andrew Garfield. I mean, it was an amazing cast. Come on, crazy. And we worked together a lot to try to be the same character, be the same person. Talking about little mannerisms we would have in common. We read each other's scenes sometimes, mix and match the cast. So getting to watch her and learn from her up close as an actor as well as like a young person, just really... who loved Pirates of the Caribbean. It was incredible. And she always gave me the time of day. Really, really nice person.
So nice. I interviewed her once in my previous incarnation as a print journalist, and she was so great. Exactly as you described, turned up on her own, wolfed down a croissant, wore an amazing denim jumpsuit, and I'm desperate to get her on the podcast. So Kiera,
she's amazing.
If you're listening.
I'll have a word.
Thanks, if you could.
I'll try. She actually... My mum sees her more than I do.
Okay.
My mum and her stayed really good friends. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, but my mum and her are good mates.
That's really sweet.
I know.
Final question before we get onto your failures is about exec producing, which you did on Sweet Pea. Given what we've just discussed about the electrician ignoring you in your own house, how empowering was that role?
It was amazing. Like, truly. Also just such a safe and wonderful environment on this job. Truly, truly, truly. Like I said, it was an almost all-female creative team. And I wouldn't have done it unless it felt really right. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be on the other side of camera for ages. I directed a short, produced a couple shorts, and wanted to do it in a way that I felt that I could contribute fully, either with a project I cared deeply, deeply about or a character I really understood. And I met Ella Jones, who is the director, and Kirsty, who is the writer, Patrick, who's our executive producer. And it just felt like one of those wonderful kismet things. And they completely, I didn't want like a vanity credit. I didn't want to be like an actor producer who doesn't really do it. I really wanted to get stuck in. I wanted to be in the writer's room. I wanted to be on the recce's. I wanted to get involved. And I was, actors sometimes, not all of us are always the best behaved, so I do get it, but we get treated like children a lot of the time. People kind of coddle us and like just want to sort of calm us down and say what they think we want to hear, and I hate that. It really bothers me. And I get it. There's this insane hierarchy on set where we're treated ridiculously well for absolutely no reason at all, when the crew are the ones who are working 1,000,000 hours and they were underpaid. No, what is stupid. I think it's so stupid. But they always just treated me like a creative, collaborative person. And they didn't sort of, I don't know, condescend me in any way or make me feel like I didn't earn my place in that room. I have been doing this a really long time and I really did have so many good ideas and I really wanted to be stuck in. I didn't want them to sort of keep me on the outside and they never did that. They always brought me in, was so supportive, so welcoming. And we really got down and dirty with it. And it was so much fun. And they never made me feel like I was, I guess this is sort of like, it's dying out now. It's slightly older, but there is a little bit of a connotation that actors are stupid. Sometimes we get treated like we're stupid and we're really not. And they never made me feel like that. They always embraced me and included me. And we came up, it was just amazing. It was just like what I've always wanted. And so, yeah, had a lot of fun. It's still really hard sometimes to advocate for yourself when you're wearing different hats and advocate for, I don't know, to sort of pitch your ideas in a way that you're not, I don't know how to describe it, but you're not overthinking it. There's no sort of like ego involved in it. I'm not, we all just want what's best for the character. We all want what's best for the show and for the story. And Rhiannon was always our North Star, making this character as authentically truthful as possible. And I think that's what kind of encouraged me and gave me the tools and the vocabulary to actually stand up for myself when I felt like I needed to and advocate for the character, advocate for myself and pitch my own ideas in an environment that otherwise could be quite scary.
Yeah. Do you think you learnt that you loved working in teams or you learnt how to stand up for yourself in a kind of collaborative group effort from Yellow Jackets? Because I know that was a very special experience in terms of the friendships you formed.
Definitely. I mean, I think it's a little bit on every job, actually. It's like kind of 10%. You grow like 10% as a person on every experience. I remember Sweet Bitter was a really formative one for me because I was 20, moved to New York on my own and didn't know anyone. And it was my first time doing TV. It was my first time working in the States. It was my first time doing a lot of things. It was my first time doing any like sex scenes or really any grown-up role and not just playing a teenager or a child, being like an adult. And I was terrified. I was really, really scared. And it was also my first time being the lead in a show, being number one on the call sheet, which is a massive responsibility. And I'd obviously been lucky enough to learn from so many people. I really wanted to be a good leader who advocated for others. That was something that was really ingrained in me. And so that was a time that I really learned how to say, no, guys, we can't break the turnaround. The crew have worked insanely long. They've been up since 4 a.m. It's not that I could do it. It's for them. And I've got to protect my people. I've got to protect this crew, my friends, my family. And having to say that when you're a kid and it's hard. It's really hard and you're scared. And there's also this thing that child actors are taught is like, you'll do anything it takes to be employed.
Yeah.
Literally, like child actors. Jeanette McCurdy wrote this incredible book that I'm obsessed with.
Loved it. I'm
She's
glad
amazing.
my mom died. Incredible.
Oh my God, I love that book. And there's so much stuff she said about being a child actor that even me on like a much, much smaller scale, obviously I did not have, nowhere near the experiences she had, but I could still relate to a lot of the things she said. And she said something about being a child actor and just molding yourself any which way to be the most employable version of yourself and not be difficult. Ugh. And I guess that's something that's relatable again for all women. But being a young girl who is a child actor, not being difficult is the biggest thing. Always smiling and looking presentable and being nice and being sweet and charming and funny. God, you'd never, get mucky or shout or, be a bit rowdy, anything like that. You wouldn't want to be difficult. And that's something I really had to unlearn as an adult. I had to unlearn that people-pleasing aspect of the industry and be like, actually, I'm really sorry. I know you guys need the shot, but nothing is more important than everyone here's health and safety. And sometimes it's easier to stand up for other people than yourself. So that was definitely the first building block for me saying. say
Wow,
anything.
that's so interesting. And actually, it leads us on to one of your failures. So I'm going to reverse the order slightly because
Ooh,
when you wrote it
fun.
to me, it was number 2. But it is that you failed yourself for a number of years by consistently prioritizing other people's needs and happiness above your own. So clearly, that relates to being a child actor and wanting to please. Did it relate to other areas of your life, personally speaking?
Yeah, it stayed with me a really long time. It's something I'm still unlearning. Um, it's an interesting relationship I have with my work where, obviously I started acting when I was 8 and going into auditions, it's so competitive. It's such an unusual, uncomfortable, unhealthy environment auditioning as a child. I mean, God, we need to help these kids. Like, it's awful. They get all of these young teenage girls in a room. Everyone's competitive. The mums are all competitive. Everyone's nervous. We're all eyeing each other up. And by the way, it's like that scene out of La La Land where everyone looks exactly the same. You know, when Emma Stone comes
Yeah.
out of the room and she's just a bunch of gingers. Everyone looks exactly the same. Is it gingers? I don't know. They're all girls that look like her. Anyway, it's horrible. You're really, really nervous, and everyone's trying to kind of outshine each other. And there's this thing of like, God, no wonder women are just constantly pitted against each other. It's ingrained in us from being really young in our industry, and then when you get employed, you'd never say, actually, I don't want to do that, because then you're labeled as difficult to work with. No one will work with you again. You will never be employed. And you hear these stories, I'm sure are not true, but are just told to you as sort of myths of like deep lore about young actresses that said they weren't going to eat that, weren't going to do that, and they never worked again. And you're terrified you're going to be that person. So you just do whatever. You say yes all the time. And then it is like, you get to 18, 19, 20 and the stakes are different. Suddenly you're getting offered nudity scenes or raunchy scenes or scenes where you have to kiss someone or act out a violent scene or maybe use language that you're not comfortable with or wear something that you're not comfortable with. I went to like photo shoots at 15, 16 and they'd pull out like a bra and knickers, and I cannot say no. And thank God I have an incredible team around me and an amazing mum who are there to advocate for me. But not everyone has that. Not everyone has good people on their side. And it really, my heart hurts for all the people that don't feel like they can say no. And I couldn't do it at 15, 16. I had my publicist say, she's 15, she's not wearing that. But they don't, people aren't always aware of those things. They don't know how old you are sometimes as well. Anyway, it's definitely something I've had to unlearn as I've gotten older, is this people pleasing thing. And I know this isn't just actors. I know this is all people, all women. And it's a scary thing the first time you say no to something that makes you uncomfortable. And I really did genuinely think I'm never going to work again.
Do you remember when that was, the first time you said that no?
It was a nude scene. It was a bit of nudity in the script, and it was my first time ever being asked. And I was just so young and I just didn't want to do it. And I was not comfortable with my body, and I was not comfortable with the people, that I would have been acting the scene with. Multiple people, by the way, not just one person. It was terrifying, so scary. I'd never done anything like that before. And it was, luckily, my fear in that moment and my insecurity outweighed my need to ever work again. I genuinely was like, all right, this is it. My career's over. But I just can't be naked on screen. I just can't. I will die of embarrassment. And no, and I've done nudity since then, and it was empowering and it was amazing, and I felt confident, and I'm proud of myself for doing what I did. But I don't know if I would have had a good relationship with my body today if I had done it then. I would have just been too insecure. I'm really glad that I said no. I'm really glad that my fear won that time.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Sometimes fear and anger, they're your internal protection mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
Well done for saying no.
Thank
I'm proud
you.
of younger Ella. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the full episode of How to Fail on your preferred podcast platform, and also be sure to follow us on social media for the latest updates.